What's going on, you guys? Jay here, and welcome back to the channel. So if you've managed to keep up to date, yesterday we saw a very important speech come from Jerome Powell, and this was held at the Chicago Economic Club. And honestly, from my perspective, this was overly bullish for the entire crypto ecosystem, and you may have missed it. So I'm going to play a quick 1 minute clip just to set the stage and then bring you straight back.
Cryptocurrencies. Um, how do you see the potential for more favorable regulations coming on them and potential risks from that for the system?
So we went through a wave of failures and fraud and things like that were the headlines for a couple of years. And I think what you see now is, and during that period, by the way, we worked with Congress to try to get a framework, a legal framework for stable coins, which would have been a nice place to start. We were not successful. I think that the climate is changing, and you're moving into sort of more mainstreaming of that whole sector. So Congress is again looking at both the Senate and the House are looking at a legal framework for stable coins. Depending on what's in it, that's a good idea. We need that. There isn't one now. And stable coins are a digital product that could actually have fairly wide appeal and should contain consumer protections of the typical sorts and transparency. And that's what the Senate and the House are working on. So that's a positive thing. I also think some of the, we took a pretty conservative, and other bank regulators took an even more conservative perspective on the guidance and rules we imposed on banks. I think there'll be some loosening of that, and I think we'll try to do it in a way that preserves safety and soundness, but that permits and fosters appropriate innovation, but that does so in a way that again doesn't put consumers at risk in ways they don't understand or make banks less safe and sound.
A key point there from Jerome Powell is the statement, if you will, from his perspective that crypto is beginning to go mainstream, and we're moving into this completely new era where banks are going to be able to adopt crypto in a safe manner, and they're hoping to really usher and help usher that in the future. And there have been many different stablecoin bills, bipartisan acts that have been put forward to the House, and they've never made it far. Whereas the current situation, and what Jerome Powell is really elaborating on there, is the situation around the Genius Stablecoin Act. And this thing is on Donald Trump's desk. It's ready to be signed. It's ready to be pushed forward. And we're seeing all of the signs you would want to see, which is really going to tell us that Donald Trump is probably going to say yes to this because of USD1, because of XRP Ripple falling in line with this Genius Act. I think we're looking at one of the biggest setups in crypto ever, and the beginning of any major broader adoption from the financial institution sector is definitely going to come in the form of a stable asset, so they can chop and change between, so they're not subject to the volatility 100% of the time. But like I said, the debanking situation is real, and it's still persisting. There's a lot of articles out there, and despite all of these new regulations coming in thick and coming in fast, it's still not allowing your everyday bank to deal with a crypto customer. And the specifics behind this is really going to be having a company, right? And then being able to go and get yourself a company bank account. In the United Kingdom, if you do anything crypto related, you will not be able to use and utilize a bank. There's a very small amount of banks that will deal with you, like Monzo, for example, which isn't the best bank out there. You're really going to want to go for something like Barclays, something with reputation. Now, I'm very bullish. There was a lot to absorb inside that. I think it was around 50 minutes of the speech there at the Chicago Economic Forum. And from my perspective, it is very bullish. He is giving us all of the answers to absolutely everything, but it's not changing that underlying situation. It's not going to prevent China from continuing to quietly sell seized crypto assets. And China's holding approximately 194K BTC. This is going to be something that will have an effect on the market. We've seen it many times in the past, and I have no doubt will be subject to more of these pressure sales from China in the future. Now, something that's got me quite excited, but I'm also doing a lot of research on Paul Atkins, is his stance with crypto, where he wants to take the SEC, and how he's going to usher in this new regulatory landscape. After all, if we truly want Operation Choke Point 2.0 out of the way it's going to start with this guy. This is going to be the guy that really either ushers in this new age for crypto, like Jerome Powell stating, and really it going mainstream, or are we going to see the continuation of what Gary Gensler was really pushing? And I personally think, from what I understand, what I know, that this is the guy we probably want in charge. And the likelihood is, with Bo Hines advising Donald Trump and really understanding the intricacies of cryptocurrency, we're in a good position. Things are looking good. Things are looking overly positive. And we did a bit of price technical analysis, I think yesterday on BTC. We were discussing this inverse cup and handle, and we're currently in a phase, as I've mentioned, where we're in the decider. We're in that moment where we're either going to go up or we are going to go down. And this is definitely going to be dependent on what news unveils itself over the course of the weekend, over Friday and going into next week, because essentially we could see this pattern invalidated. We saw it during the previous halving cycle at that first peak, so it wouldn't be unusual for us to see this invalidated and to see a big move upwards. But at the same time, we need to be very cautious here, and as I've mentioned in my previous video yesterday, in the event that we do begin to tread downwards, you're going to want to best position yourself. You're going to try to want to catch those lows, and you're going to try to want to sell those highs. You're going to try work yourself as you go down. Now, from my perspective, what I would do is just hold all the way through. I'll dollar cost average in. I'll continue dollar cost averaging in, because we are not magicians. We are not psychics. We cannot see the future. What we can do is best position ourselves with the knowledge that we have, not go balls deep, not go 100% into it, but instead dollar cost average in very, very small packets during this time. Because like I said, essentially, we do not know if this pattern is going to be invalidated or if China's going to bulk sell 94K BTC and us see a massive move downwards. Crypto moves so fast, and you're away for an hour and it feels like you've been gone for a week. You've got so much to catch up on, and yeah, things could move thick, things can move fast, and anything could happen. A lot of people are going to be reporting on Jerome Powell's speech. You'll see people cutting it up on X. It will be thrown into little X posts. There'll be smart comments with it. There'll be people quoting what he said. But like I'm saying, it doesn't change the fact of the matter. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is still here. The debanking situation is still current, and essentially you're still not realistically allowed to deal with crypto customers, and banks are not allowed to really deal with any companies. So we're in a peculiar situation. We need broader adoption. We need it to come thick, and we need to come fast. But what I'm hoping is the beginning of all of this really is going to happen once the Genius Stablecoin Act passes, once it's in place, once we start to see the gears really begin to turn. We see some speed building up, and hopefully we start to see a mad rush to get into crypto. And there will be a mad rush. We are part of a very, very small percentage. But yeah, what do you guys think? How are you feeling today? Are you positive going into the end of the week? Do you think it's going to be an up weekend? Do you think it's going to be a down weekend? Just let me know in the comment section. Like I said at the beginning, like, subscribe, comment on the way out, and I'll catch you in the next one.